I didn't do anything wrong. I only said no to a man. Now he has killed me. Does that mean I should stop talking to men everywhere? Does not mean that when a man stops me on the road, I should be wary. And so if that happens, then I think that all of us should decree and say we're not getting married to men. If you feel triggered by this, you're probably part of the men who have it in them to be all of these things, and they haven't done it just because they haven't been pushed, their backs haven't been pushed to the wall. And if you are one of the few good men, please, it is not enough to say, I am not like that. I don't have it in me like to be that. My parents raised me where it is not enough to do that. Go and start talking to men. Start talking to your fellow men out there. Start telling them that it is wrong. Teach them to be empaths. Teach them to be better humans. Teach them to see women as human beings. Teach them to accept no. Teach them to see women as human beings. When I hear things like it's easier to raise boys than women, boys are low maintenance, you don't have to be very hands-on on male children, what comes to mind is that as a society, we have decided that we are not going to raise boys. That is what comes to my mind, because I'm thinking, if you think there are certain ways that you should raise girls to become better or proper women in adults, right? What stops you from raising boys in the same measure, right? So I feel like this is still something that is patriarchy rooted in our systems and in the way that we go about life. What am I talking about? It's no news, especially if you're in Nigeria or in Africa right now, that there have been so many cases of femicides all across different countries in Africa, and in the world in general. And every day I wake up holding on to something small as it is, that I can find joy in. But more and more, it is difficult that you go online and see something that doesn't get you mad or get you very triggered. A couple of women have been killed recently by very unassuming men who you wouldn't think, oh, he looks menacing in a way that I know that if I talk to this person, I'm at risk of being unalived or being killed. People who are in relationships are murdering their girlfriends. There's also an increase in the number of GBV cases that are going on all around me. A few days ago, I saw a man who was beating his wife because she asked that he takes care of the children. So he leaves the house and go and stay somewhere else for weeks. And then he comes back with no care in the world. What's going on with this woman? What's going on with my children? And it's so sad. It's so sad that because of this thing, I left Twitter. I didn't delete my account or anything, but I haven't been active on Twitter since May. And it's because Twitter makes it very easy for you to come across these cases. And it's not that I'm running away from the situation, but it's just that when is this thing ever going to end? And the sad reality is that it's not going to end anytime soon. And so when I hear men who come out on social media and say stuff like, oh, the wife you marry is not a part of your family, I already think that's a very big red flag. But you still find that there are women who are staying back in relationships and marrying these men. Why? Why? And so this is not even an issue of marry a good man or don't marry men. Of course, there is still that, right? But it's even now more so, am I at risk of being killed because you try to talk to me on the road and I say no? Am I at risk of being killed because, oh, we had sex one time and now I'm telling you that I'm not ready for a relationship and you can't take that, so you kill me? I feel like it is no longer an issue of, oh, a man is inviting me to his house and I'm so scared that something can go wrong, or that if something goes wrong, society is going to judge me because I carried myself to that man's house. It is now more so I can be walking on the streets and I'll be killed just because a man feels like he can do it. Last night I was so sad because this is not the video I originally thought to put out, but I couldn't bring myself to edit that video to put it out. You know when you come across something and then you feel so tired, so drained, like when is this thing ever going to end? And so when I say stuff like all men are liable to be very wicked to women because they have not been taught about how to be empathetic, how to be human, people think, oh, I'm exaggerating. Or people think, oh, I'm not like that. So why would you say all men? Ask yourself, why are you being triggered by it? If you know that you don't fall into that category of men, why are you being triggered by it? At least 1 in 4 women are being raped, molested, and assaulted by a man. So if you take statistics, then it means that for you to find one good man, you would have gone through 100 evil men. So what are we saying? So rather than championing and telling your fellow men to start acting right, being empathetic and being human to women, you say, oh, don't add all of us are not as terrible. Again, I think that every man is actually liable to be that way. Because if you judge by the generation of women or generation of mothers that raised us, you will know that a lot of them were patriarch princesses who were sharing this idea of what they believe society should be about. Men should be lords and women should be servants. And so whatever situation that happens with your husband or with your partner, you are expected to accept it for what it is because, well, they are men, they cannot be questioned. So if we are going by that, it means that most men our age and older are most likely unempathetic and most likely are able to do all of these bad things to women. We owe it to the next generation to do better. We owe it to the next generation to do better. I would say everybody out there should not get married to men, but that would be saying there are no men out there who are at least deserving. But if you think about it logically, the number of cases of women who are being killed, raped, molested, or facing one form of GBV or the other, and then you think about how many women out there are in marriages that benefits them. So marriage in itself is a lot more beneficial to men. So when men come out and say women are a lot to deal with, if I was gay, I would just marry a man, I just think all the better. All the better. Because so many research have proven that men gain a lot more from marriages than women. Because the only thing that women seem to gain in marriages is financial stability, which in this generation and time, I would like to believe that a lot more women are going to be choosing to remain unmarried. Because if the only thing you can offer me is financial security and that my life is not safe in your hands, or my mental health or my body is not safe in your hands, why the hell am I getting married? I spoke about how the world population is a lot more filled with women, and I wonder, what is that conditioning that makes men think they rule the world where there are a lot more of us in the world and we can decide to fuck shit up if we wanted to? It's so sad, really. It's so sad that my question again and again and again is, where is the end? Where is the end? When are we going to see an end to all of this? When will it be safe for women to come out in the night and not be scared, or early evenings and not be scared or worried that somebody is going to kill them, or somebody is going to molest them or rape them or assault them sexually? Mothers, please, I want to beg you guys. When you think boys are easier to raise, they are easier to raise because you're not doing your duty. Not just mothers, parents, right? Parents, because I feel like mothers are accepting that boys are easier to raise because of how deeply rooted patriarchy is in our hearts and minds. You think boys are easier to raise because you're raising them hands free, and you think, oh, they are more independently thinking. No, they are not. They are way more foolish than women out there. But because they've been made to believe that, oh, their decision is final, their lords and gods, being married to them is doing women a favor, they go prancing about and thinking, oh, I'm the shit. And so I can do these things and get away with them. Parents, please, we need to do better as a generation. Young women, if you're trying to get married, know the person that you're getting married to, so that the circle doesn't repeat itself. You get married to an idiot, you're going to give birth to idiots, because you're going to be raising these children with an idiot. We need to do better for ourselves. And as a society, if you think that I am bitter, I'm sounding bitter because I don't have a man in my life, I agree. Maybe I am bitter, and maybe that's why I've chosen to become a feminist. If you think it's because I'm bitter and I hate men, then so be it. Because you can see how hard it is to love men in general when everywhere you turn around, there's one case of gender-based violence. These men would never go and kill a man for no reason, because they think, oh, women are weak. They are easier to prey on. Again, I wasn't on Twitter. I went on Instagram to post a video, and then I come across this thing about this Kenyan woman, and then I see the other one about the 300 level students, and I'm like, when you look at these men, they don't look like they can do or pull off this sort of evil. And so you ask yourself, the man who is beside me right now, for God, I hope that it is not because they have not been pushed to the wall, or it's not because they are pretending, or that thing is deeply in them that they are waiting for when they will marry you into the house to start showing this attitudes. I really don't know what we can do, but I would think that a lot more women will look at a man 2 times and know what that man is about before you agree to settle down with a man. Because a man who already thinks there's nothing good about you and is doing you a favor, dating you and marrying you, think about what he will do when you guys get married, like when you're living in the same house. Think about that. You owe your children a good father. You owe it to yourself to pick a man or choose a man that believe in your ideals, or believe in a world where they don't see women as people that they can do and undo, because they are the almighty, they are the lords, they are the shit. So I know that I've said on this podcast that I will stop judging women who remain with badly behaved men, but I judge women. I may not say it online anymore, but I judge women. I judge women who still open their legs to men who beat them. I judge women. And you might say, oh, it's patriarchy, we should judge. And yes, I do believe that patriarchy is what we should judge. But I judge women who give birth to 1, 2, 3, 4 children for somebody who beats them, or somebody who maltreats them or manhandles them one way or another. I will judge you. So while we are judging men out there, I think that we should start looking at ourselves and choosing ourselves and choosing to be alive, than picking men for the sake of, oh, my biological clock is ticking, I don't want to die without having children. Is that better than ending up dead because you decided, oh, I can still manage this man? Women, please, I beg us. If I say, let all of us start taking self-defense classes, I don't think that's too much. Start taking self-defense classes. Start being a lot more aware of the kind of men you're dating. If a man says something to you that is sounding somehow, I bet it to you that it is somehow, and he should never have said it to you. If a man acts a certain way towards you, he's raising his hands at you, he has never slapped you, but every time you get into an argument, he has it in him to raise his hand. Leave that man. Leave that man, because again, I still believe in my heart that every man has it in him to be violent, because most men have not been raised to be empathetic or to be human. And so if a man is pushed against the wall and he's choosing violence in your relationship, although he has never hit you, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. So please, as women, we need to choose ourselves. Some of these things we can't control because we have to leave it for the law to take its course. In that, I didn't do anything wrong. I only said no to a man. Now he has killed me. So does that mean I should stop talking to men everywhere? Does that mean that when a man stops me on the road, I should be wary? And so if that happens, then I think that all of us should decree and say we're not getting married to men. Because I don't think I'm safe enough to talk to you on the road, right? So if I'm not safe enough to talk to you on the road, how are we going to get from there to talking stage 2? It's just so sad. It's just so sad. Every day you wake up, there's one bad news or the other, and it's usually surrounding women at the bottom of that. Anyway, again, if you feel triggered by this, you're probably part of the men who have it in them to be all of these things, and they haven't done it just because they haven't been pushed, their backs haven't been pushed to the wall. And if you are one of the few good men, please, it is not enough to say, I am not like that. I don't have it like in me like to be that. My parents raised me where it is not enough to do that. Go and start talking to men. Start talking to your fellow men out there. Start telling them that it is wrong. Teach them to be empaths. Teach them to be better humans. Teach them to see women as human beings. Teach them to accept no. Teach them to see women as human beings. See you in our next video.